All right, so here we are. Today is day 50 of the Trump administration. The commander-in-chief has been rapidly moving to keep his promises to you, the American people, the things he campaigned on. He detailed a very specific agenda and has been going down the list, checking items off one by one. And today also, good news, we learned that 235,000 new jobs were created in February alone. Of course, don't expect the alt-left propaganda media to report all of the good things that the president has accomplished in 50 short days. Now, the biased press, they would rather focus on anti-Trump conspiracies such as this.
CNN has learned that the nation's top intelligence officials provided information to President-elect Donald Trump and to President Barack Obama last week about claims of Russian efforts to compromise President-elect Trump.
CNN learns the FBI is continuing to investigate an odd computer link between a Russian bank and the Trump organization.
Vladimir Putin over there in the Kremlin did everything he could to put guess who in the White House.
Well, no matter how much improvement America sees over the next 4 years, no matter how many jobs are added, no matter how much wealth will be generated, that kind of Russia-obsessed conspiracy propaganda, it appears that's all you're going to hear from the left-wing media. Now, meanwhile, none of the so-called journalists are even willing to conduct an investigation behind this unprecedented and, in some cases, absolutely criminal leaks that are happening in Washington, like the ones you see right there on your screen. Those are leaks since Trump's become president. However, at Circa News, two very well-respected journalists, they have conducted a thorough investigation into the Trump-Russia collusion claims. And what did they discover? Just weeks before the election, the FBI received a warrant to investigate a server connected to Donald Trump's businesses, but they found no wrongdoing, no collusion with the Russians. And around the same time, in fact, in October, a FISA warrant was also granted to investigate potential Russian influence in the election. Now, if the mainstream media cared about presenting the whole truth, they should run headlines like this: federal investigation finds no evidence to date that Trump campaign colluded with Russia. I'm not going to hold my breath that someone will actually publish this, even though they should tell the American people the truth. And that's the problem. Time and time again, the media is so focused on pushing their radical, lazy agenda, they fail to see the truth that's right in front of them. Now, they never vetted Barack Obama. They never admitted to colluding with the Clinton campaign and acting as their surrogate. And they utterly failed to predict the rise of President Trump. So, who can disagree with me that they are abusively biased? Who can disagree with Steve Bannon when he calls them the opposition party in this country? Now, many in the media, they're so deeply invested in seeing that President Trump fails. Well, many deep state, Obama-era holdovers, they're still entrenched in government. And by the way, I'm not the only one that feels this way. For example, former Democratic Congressman Dennis Kucinich, he said that President Trump has a point about the wiretapping. Take a look.
People who are saying about President Trump's claim, oh, it could never happen. Well, frankly, it happened to me. And I had proof because the Washington Times actually let me listen into a tape that was made of a conversation in my congressional office. It was a conversation between myself and a foreign leader. The conversation was approved and cleared by House attorneys who said, yes, you can do that. That's your constitutional right. But someone had intercepted it, that my phone wasn't safe in a congressional office. Now, if they can do that to a member of Congress, they can certainly do it to a presidential candidate, and they can do it to private citizens as well.
Dennis Kucinich is right. And former Clinton campaign manager Robbie Mook, he also confirmed that some Trump campaign conversations were, in fact, wiretapped. Watch this.
You say there was a wiretap.
That there was a wiretap of Russian agents, and that those Russian agents were communicating with Trump staff. That's why they were picked up. That's
How do you know that?
Intelligence community. That's what the intelligence community has told us. That's what's been reported very widely. Those are the facts.
All right, you, the American people, you deserve truthful answers. For example, what did the Clinton campaign know? When did they know it? And last night I said it was time for President Trump to clean house. It has to happen. Sean Spicer had this to say when asked about all these Obama deep state shadow government holdovers. Take a look.
I think that there's no question when you have 8 years of one party in office that there are people who stay in government, who affiliated with, joined and continue to espouse the agenda of the previous administration. So I don't think it should come as any surprise that there are people that burrowed into government during 8 years of the last administration, and may have believed in that agenda and can want to continue to seek it. I don't think that should come as a surprise to anyone.
Now, today, the Trump administration, they took the first step into purging deep state actors. According to a DOJ spokesperson, quote, the Attorney General has now asked the remaining 46 presidentially appointed U.S. attorneys to tender their resignations in order to ensure a uniform transition. Joining us now from circanews.com, Sara Carter is back with us. What you and John Solomon broke, to me, is huge. Nobody was able to confirm what you guys have. That, number one, a FISA warrant was issued, correct? You're 100% sure.
We're 100% sure, yes. A FISA warrant was issued on the overall investigation into Russian hacking, and a separate warrant was issued to investigate the server that was registered to Trump Tower. And there was absolutely no evidence discovered during that search, and it was a very brief search of that computer server. It yielded no evidence whatsoever that alarmed the FBI that there was any criminal connection between Trump or any of his surrogates, anybody on the Trump team, with Russia. So they shut it down quickly. But you asked the question, when did Hillary know about it? Remember, she tweeted about it, and a Slate News magazine also wrote a story about it at the same time. She talked about these nefarious connections between Trump and Russia and his server. And then we had Harry Reid last October make those same claims. But remember, it was in October when the FBI opened their investigation into the server and closed it within the month of October because they found nothing.
Sarah, so this is amazing. We've been hearing for months and months and months and months potential FISA surveillance warrants being issued, other warrants. The president tweets out that there was surveillance, or he said wiretap. We're really just interchanging and parsing words. He's right. The media blasted him for that tweet that he sent out. But there was surveillance. There were 2 warrants. It happened. They found no evidence at all to say that there was any collusion. Don't you think, in light of all the media coverage of this, that there's a dereliction of duty in informing the American people what you and John Solomon, both great, objective journalists, investigative reporters, have found? Don't you think this is major headlines they're ignoring?
Absolutely. I mean, I think what you need to do is go to the truth. I tell you where there is evidence, though, Sean. There will be evidence as to who leaked this information if there are good investigators willing to find out who did. And that's where the trail of breadcrumbs will be. Because even though there's a wide expanse of intelligence agencies that can access this type of information, the leak on Flynn's telephone call, that was signals intelligence. That's a felony. Revealing that, like they did to the Washington Post, to David Ignatius, is actually a felony. And every time you go into a SCIF, that's a compartmentalized room that is highly guarded, so you can look at this information. Every time you go in there, you leave a marker. And that marker remains there so that people can go back and see who viewed that information. So if somebody wants to find out who the leaker is, if somebody wants to find out who violated federal law and leaked classified information on the wiretaps that were on the Russian ambassador, not on Trump, but they were on the Russian ambassador at that time and not on Flynn, they can find out. And that evidence is there. So I believe that whoever is appointed to investigate on the leaks will eventually sniff out that person, and that person will be exposed.
Well, Sarah, I got to say again, both to you and John Solomon, really great investigative work. You deserve far more credit and coverage than you've been getting. Has any major other media television network reached out to you both?
No, I mean, I've seen it out there. I've seen people talking about it, but no,
Sad.
They have
That's
not.
sad. All right, we will continue to follow this story into next week, I promise you.